Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Krista McAlpin, and I work at Mayfield Brain and Spine. Tonight, I'm happy to moderate this webinar on behalf of the Tri-State Brain Aneurysm Support Group. Before we start, let's take a moment to ensure that everyone is ready and familiar with the webinar control panel, which is located on the right side of your screen. First, you can minimize this panel by clicking on the orange arrow button in the upper left-hand corner. You can expand the panel by clicking the same button again. Second, you have the ability to submit questions using the question pane located on the control panel. If it's not open already, just click that question bar to expand it, and you will see where you can type and submit questions to us, which we will answer at the end of the presentation. Finally, this webinar is being recorded and will be posted online for later reference. Now, let's get started. We are pleased to have Kelly Draggoo join us to talk about Social Security disability and Social Security income. Ms. Draggoo is a public affairs specialist for the Social Security Administration. She serves as outreach coordinator and educator for the Social Security offices located across central and southern Ohio, as well as parts of eastern Indiana. Kelly joined Social Security in 2009 as a claims specialist processing retirement, disability, and Medicare claims. In 2018, she joined the public affairs team and has served on both regional and national Social Security work groups, in addition to her public affairs role. Kelly received her bachelor's degree from the University of Cincinnati and is a native of Cincinnati. Thank you for being here. You may now begin your presentation.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Let me turn my camera on just so I can say hello to you. Let's see if I can find it. That doesn't look like it wants to come on. Anyway, you've got my picture there on the screen. I'm Kelly Draggoo, like she said. Oh, there I am. It's just showing you for a second there who I am, and I'm here live with you. But I'm not going to leave that on. We don't need to have our cameras on. I just wanted to turn it on for a minute. On the screen there on the first slide, you see my picture as well as my email address. So we kind of live dangerously giving you our email addresses, but if there is information that I can help you find, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me. I can't take claims and process the benefits for you or anything like that because that's not really my role. But if you're having difficulty navigating the system or finding answers online or something like that, by all means reach out to me and let me know, and I'll try and help you out as best I can. Go ahead and type in any questions that you want into chat. I am here tonight by myself. I do not have my colleague Teresa Busher, who you also see on the screen there. She's enjoying a week of vacation out in Hocking Hills this week. So I cannot monitor the chat and speak at the same time naturally. So we'll wait till the end and we'll answer questions when we get there. So most of the time our presentation builds on itself. And so I'm probably going to answer your question for you. So just kind of sit back and relax and just listen to the presentation rather than get hung up on typing things into chat. I think I'll probably answer most of your questions for you as we go along. So let's see here if I can get going. Here we go. So let me tell you about contacting Social Security. It's a little different right now because of coronavirus. Our offices, our Social Security offices, are still not open to in-person services. So you can reach us by the telephone or you can reach us over the internet. You can reach us on our 1-800 number that you see on the screen, 772-1213. That's our national number, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. There's representatives to answer the phone. Outside of those hours, you can use the automated phone services that are on that number. You can also reach out to your local office if you prefer. If you don't know the telephone number to your local office, you can look it up. It's on our website, socialsecurity.gov/locator. Calls are being answered remotely by staff in the local offices between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if you haven't already signed up for our coronavirus update page, we would really encourage you to. socialsecurity.gov/coronavirus. You can get all the up-to-date information you need about how to replace your Social Security card while our offices are not open for in-person service. Find out how you qualify for a dire need in-office appointment. There are some appointments being made for dire need reasons, and those are on that website. You can see temporary policy changes that are in place during the pandemic. We have made changes in things where we allow you to fax us documents or email us documents now, rather than having to see the wet signature. Or, there's new ways to enroll in Medicare online rather than how we used to have to do it pre-pandemic. So once you log on to this site, you can subscribe and you can get updates via email every time something updates to that website. So check it out. We need to tell you to beware of suspicious Social Security scam calls. They are rampant, where people will be trying to call you and scare you into thinking something is wrong with your Social Security number. Social Security employees do initiate contact sometimes with the public, but usually only for people that we're doing business with. So if Social Security calls you out of the blue, it's likely a scam. Hang up the phone. Employees never threaten you with arrest or other legal action if you don't provide requested information. And we don't ever suspend someone's Social Security number, ever. Real government officials will never threaten arrest or legal action against you if you don't immediately send money. And we will never require a payment with a retail gift card or using internet currency. So beware of those calls. Report fraud if you get those calls. So we've given you the website there that you can report that fraud. We would like everyone to open a My Social Security account. This is your portal into all of your personal information with Social Security. So you just go on our website, which is what you see here, ssa.gov. This is our homepage. Click on the My Social Security tab, and you can create a My Social Security account. When you do that, it opens up doors for you to be able to do business with Social Security online. If you don't get benefits yet, you might think, why do I need one of those accounts? Well, mainly so you can review your online Social Security statement in your earnings record at least once a year. Make sure that the earnings we have posted for you are correct, because that's what's calculating your future benefit estimates that you see on that Social Security statement. You can check your application status if you're filing a disability claim. And new this year, you can see your disability medical file information right in your account. You can order a replacement Social Security card online through your My Social Security account. So gone are the days that you need to come into the office. And if you're thinking about retirement or nearing the age and curious what your benefits will be, you can use our Plan and Prepare workspace that has an interactive calculator on it to play around with what-if scenarios and find out what your benefits would be. If you happen to be the representative payee for someone getting benefits from Social Security, you can use your own My Social Security account and do things for the beneficiary. Things like report their monthly wages if they get disability and work, print off proof of their benefits, or even update or enroll in direct deposit for them. Once you do get Social Security benefits for yourself, then you can do all kinds of things with your account. Get proof of your income, change your address, start or change your direct deposit, even replace your Medicare card. And something that just started at the end of last year is something called Advanced Designation of Representative Payee Request. This is where you are given the opportunity to designate up to 3 individuals who could serve as payee for you, should that need arise. So this is something for you to remain in control as long as you possibly can until something, prevents you from being able to do that. And then you will have selected who you would like us to reach out to become your representative payee. All right, so those are my public service announcements. Let's move on to our meat of our program, which is disability benefits. So first, let's talk about understanding the basics about the disability programs. Social Security pays disability through 2 programs. So there is the Title II program and the Title 16 program. And when I mention title, that's Title II and Title 16 of the Social Security Act. So in the blue bubble on the left is Title II, or SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. That's the disability program where you work, you pay taxes on your wages, and you earn an insured status to become eligible for your retirement, your disability benefit, and your survivor benefits that you leave behind one day. This is also the benefit when you get SSDI, you get Medicare, because again, you are paying taxes on your earnings and you are becoming insured for Medicare, either in your older age after 65 or after 2 years of being on SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. All right, and then on the right side, I guess that's an orange bubble. It used to be red. The newer slides, they've made it orange. Title 16 is of the Social Security Act, and that's our Supplemental Security Income Program, or SSI. This is a needs-based program. So this is completely different than the Title II program or the SSDI program. It's basically a 180 from that program, and you'll see when I go through them how different they are. This, again, it's a needs-based program. So once you are awarded SSI, then we do a data share with the local Job and Family Services, and we let them know you've been approved, and Medicaid begins. So those kind of go hand in hand with each other. Let's define disability under Social Security's rules. Now, Social Security's definition is different than other people's or other agencies' definitions. To meet our definition of disability, you must be unable to engage in any substantial gainful activity because you have a medically determined physical or mental impairment. That medical or mental or physical impairment has to have lasted or is expected to last for at least a year or is expected to result in death. So it's a pretty strict definition. There is no temporary or partial disability under Social Security rules. Now, what is substantial gainful activity, or SGA? Well, that's just a monetary amount that we use to determine whether to consider someone's work, if they're working when they're applying for or getting disability benefits, substantial, whether it's substantial or gainful. In 2021, $1,310 or more in gross wages is considered SGA. So that's considered substantial and gainful. If you have a blindness, then you can make a little bit more, $2,190 per month. Again, this is gross wages. Now, there's a totally separate definition of disability for children who are under 18, but we're not going to go into children tonight. We don't have enough time to do all benefits like that, so we're sticking to the core of disability for the adults. Here's just kind of a comparison of the two benefits, if you will. SSDI on the left, SSI is on your right. So SSDI benefits are paid on the 3rd, or they're paid on a Wednesday, according to a person's birthday. SSI, on the other hand, is paid on the 1st. SSDI does have dependent benefits that could be payable to children or spouses of the disabled individual. SSI, on the other hand, there are no benefits payable to dependents. Only the person found disabled or the aged person getting SSI gets the benefit. For SSDI, the payments come from the Social Security trust funds that are based on a person's earnings. The SSI payments, on the other hand, come from the General Treasury Fund. They are not based on a person's earnings. This is why children get SSI, because you don't have to have worked in order to get SSI. SSDI is an insurance that workers earn by paying Social Security taxes on their wages. SSI, on the other hand, it's needs-based. It's a public assistance program, does not require a person to have a work history. Again, this is why children get SSI. The SSDI program pays benefits to disabled individuals not able to work or able to work but earning less than that substantial gainful activity amount that I told you. And it pays benefits regardless of someone's income and resources. SSI, on the other hand, pays disabled individuals that are not able to work and have limited income and limited resources. It also pays aged individuals that are 65 or older with those limited income and resources. And I'll go into depth in that a little bit. And again, SSDI, you end up with Medicare because you've paid taxes on your wages. You don't have to wait until 65 if you're found disabled earlier than that. Then you get Medicare after 24 months of being disabled on SSDI. And then with SSI, again, it leads to Medicaid. Once you're awarded the SSI benefit, the data share is done with Job and Family Services, and you go on to Medicaid. So let's break them down a little bit further and talk about SSI first. Just some essentials for you. SSI provides monthly payments, again, to people that are 65 or older, or people of any age who are blind or disabled and have limited income and resources. That is key to the SSI program. Benefits are paid on the 1st. SSI benefits have no retroactivity. So don't wait to file an application. You cannot be found to be disabled in the past and actually receive benefits in the past. So it's only going forward from your application date. And in fact, your application date is a month that we don't pay benefits. So if you, there's no like proration. So if you apply today, for example, on April 7th, and you were found disabled, there would be no benefit payable for you for the month of April. Your first benefit would start in May. The maximum benefit that you can get this year on SSI is $794 a month. We call that a federal benefit rate, or an FBR. You'll learn that Social Security talks in acronyms, so everything has an acronym. So it's $794, the FBR. And the monthly amount you get on SSI and your eligibility for SSI is based on your monthly income, your resources, and your living arrangements. So all of those factor into whether or not you can get SSI. So what is income for SSI? We're looking at your wages. We're looking at your net earnings from self-employment. We're looking at payments for services even in sheltered workshops. So that's considered earned income. And unearned income, we're looking at maybe you get Social Security benefits off of somebody else's work record. You know, maybe you're getting a benefit off of a parent that's deceased, or maybe you are the spouse of somebody already getting a benefit from them, something along those lines. Or maybe you are insured for your own SSDI benefit, and you can also get SSI, and we'll talk about that. Maybe you get veterans benefits or unemployment benefits, pension income. Maybe you have family or friends that give you money every month. That is all income for the SSI program. Remember, it's needs-based, so if you get income from somewhere else, it's going to reduce what SSI pays you because of that. We also look at what your resources are. So we're basically looking at things that can be turned into cash, so liquid resources. So you are allowed to own things, but there is a limit. The individual limit is $2,000 a month. So every month at the first moment of the month, you cannot have more than $2,000 in resources in your name. So those are things like bank accounts, stocks and bonds, life insurance, cash value to life insurance, property other than where you live. Now, we do exclude certain resources. So the home you live in doesn't count towards the resource limit. The first car that you own doesn't count towards the resource limit. But if you're a co-owner of 5 other cars, or maybe you've co-signed for your kids to get cars, your name is on those, and you have ownership in those cars. Those could cause you issues with the resource limit. Have you ever heard of ABLE accounts? ABLE accounts are something fairly new, and this is where you can put money away in basically a tax-deferred type of an account. It's a tax advantage account where you can save your money. You can only spend the money that's in the account for disability-related expenses, like education, housing, transportation, basic living costs even. But basically, once you put money into that account, any balance up to $100,000 is excluded as a resource for the SSI program. So that's huge. When you're talking about, you know, that you have a $2,000 limit every month of resources, if you have more than $2,000 in the bank, but it's in an ABLE account, then it's excluded for the resource limit for the SSI program. So we wanted to make sure we tell you about those programs. Check those out. It stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. And we've given you the website here, stableaccount.com. Ohio calls the ABLE accounts stable. So that's why you see that is in the title of that website. So check that out. I think you'll really want to read up on those to see if that's something that can benefit you going forward. Now, the third thing we look at when we are determining eligibility for someone on SSI is their living arrangement. So SSI benefits can vary depending upon where a person lives. If you live in someone else's home, including your own parents' home, even if you're over 18, we will reduce the SSI payment if you don't pay your fair share of the living expenses where you live. So if you live alone and you're paying all of your own bills, then you're likely going to receive the full SSI benefit amount. But if you live somewhere where you don't pay anything towards the rent, and you don't buy your own food, and you don't pay the water bill and all of that, then we're going to reduce how much SSI benefits are paid. Again, it's a needs-based program. If you don't have the need for the extra income to pay the rent, then you won't get as much on SSI. If you live in group care or supported living, though, usually you're eligible for the full federal benefit rate, unless there's some other reason to decrease the amount of the SSI, like maybe you have income from a job or something like that. If you live in an institution, you can never receive SSI for a complete month of residence while you're incarcerated. So even people in Summit Behavioral, for example, cannot get SSI. Or in the Hamilton County Justice Center, they do not get SSI. Even if they were getting it, they will stop getting it while they're in there. SSI is limited to a $30 amount, just a stipend basically, if a person lives in a medical facility for an entire continuous month. So again, this SSI benefit is dependent on how much other income you have, what kind of resources you have, and where you live. So all three of those things factor in when we're trying to determine how much to pay someone in SSI. So your SSI monthly payment can change based on all of those things. SSDI, on the other hand, let's talk about that now because it's so totally different and it's much easier to understand. Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, this is going to provide a monthly benefit to somebody that's disabled or blind who is insured because the worker had contributions into the Social Security Trust Fund. And the worker is no longer able to work or is working very little because of a significant disabling condition. Again, SSA does not pay partial or temporary disability benefits. You have to have worked recently, and you have to have earned a certain number of work credits based on your age to qualify for a disability benefit. You have to be younger than your full retirement age, and you have to be earning under that substantial gainful activity amount that we talked about. So when you work, you earn credits towards disability insurance, retirement, and survivor benefits. Because when you're working, you're paying a tax on your wages. That's called the FICA tax. You might see it called FICA on your paycheck, or you might see it called OASDI, which is the trust fund name. However you see it, that's Social Security tax. So when you're working, you're earning credits towards retirement. The number of credits that you need is going to be varied based upon how old you are when you are applying for the disability benefit. So if you're under 24, you only need about 6 credits, which is only about a year and a half's worth of work. If you are between 24 and 31, it's a sliding scale. And if you're over 31, you basically have to have worked 5 out of the last 10 years. So you earn 1 credit this year when you work, and you earn $1,470. You can get a maximum of 4 credits in a year. So you basically earn 1 credit for each quarter of work, 4 quarters in the year. So once you have earned $5,880 in 2021, you have earned your 4 credits for the year, all right? Then the benefit amount that you end up getting paid on SSDI is based on an average of your monthly work history. So it's going to look at your lifetime earnings before you became disabled and calculate a benefit for you based on that. So the amount everybody gets on SSDI is different, depending upon what kind of earnings you had in your lifetime before disability. Unlike the SSI program where I told you it has the set federal benefit rate of $794 a month. Some people get $3,000 or close to it on SSDI. So it depends on what somebody's earnings are. Now, all SSDI applications, as well as a regular old retirement application or even a survivor claim, all of those applications ask questions about your dependents. Your dependents include spouses or ex-spouses, your minor children, or even your adult children who are over 18 but have a disability. And that's because your dependents may be able to receive a benefit from your work record once you are going on disability or once you are applying for disability. Minor children are considered your dependents when they are up to the age of 18 or up until 19 if they're still in high school. Normally they are unmarried, and Social Security makes no distinction between dependents who do or do not have impairments of their own until they reach the age of 18. So this means that if you are eligible for disability benefits and you have a minor child that's 12, that child could be eligible as a dependent. It does not matter if they have a disability. But once they reach the age of 18 or 19, if still in high school, their benefit will stop. Now, if they're disabled on their own right, we may be able to continue that beyond that, okay? And when we do continue that benefit, it's because we consider that child to now be an adult, but they are a disabled adult child, or a DAC, disabled adult children. Disabled adult child is one that's older than 18 and has a disability. So they may be able to continue to draw off of their parents' Social Security record beyond age 18 and beyond age 19, even once they're out of high school, if their disabling condition occurred before the age of 22, they're unmarried, and their parent is either deceased or applying for Social Security disability or retirement. So in other words, sometimes people come see us, let's say they might be filing for retirement at age 62. So they never even tried to file for disability benefits. But during that application, we found out that they have a 40-year-old who has been disabled since birth, and they're not getting any kind of benefit at all. Mom and dad have just taken care of this adult child. Well, now that mom or dad is going to be getting their own retirement benefit, we can explore this disabled adult child benefit. So we just have to establish that the child was disabled before they turned 22, because now that child is 40. And if that's the case, then they can get this disabled adult child benefit. And that means they basically receive the dependent benefit off of mom or dad's record, which is about half of what mom or dad are going to receive when they start to receive their benefit. So if a spouse or a parent is on SSDI or retirement, dependents are eligible for up to 50% of their monthly benefit. If the spouse or parent is deceased, then the dependents are eligible for up to 75% of the worker's monthly benefit amount. This doesn't take anything away from the retired or deceased or disabled worker's own benefit. In all cases, there is a family maximum involved. So if there are a whole lot of children, they're not all going to get 50% or 75%. There's a pot, if you will, that they all are going to just split evenly at that point if there's that many kids on the record. And just a reminder, we receive the information about minor children or disabled adult children from parents' applications when they apply for SSDI or retirement benefits or survivor benefits. So if you're not applying for any of those kind of benefits, you should at least check in with us at 62. Find out, if I did file for my early retirement benefit at 62, because I have this disabled adult child, would it be is that in my best interest to do? So it's something to think about. All right, and then what happens once you file your claim? How do you apply, first of all, and how do we make our disability decision? So we want you to file for your benefits online. That's our preferred method, of course, right now because of COVID. You can go right onto our website, socialsecurity.gov. You can either just go onto that site and click on the disability tab or /disability off of the main page. You can call us if you prefer and make an appointment at your local office. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to schedule a telephone interview. Again, we're not doing anything in person except for a few dire need type things, and you can see those on our website. To go online and apply for SSDI, all you have to do is go on the website, complete the application, print off your confirmation for your records so that you have that. And by the way, while you're in that application, make sure you check yes for the question that comes up saying, do you intend to file for SSI? You don't really know if you're going to be eligible for SSI or not. We want to explore that possibility for you. So when you're filing online for SSDI, say yes, I also want to file for SSI. That's what's going to create the SSI claim and let us explore the idea of whether or not you are eligible for it based on your income and your resources and your living arrangement. The other option for you, though, is to call us. Call the national 800 number you see on the screen or contact your local office and schedule an appointment. Again, they're going to schedule you a telephone interview, nothing in office. You can apply for SSI online in some cases. It's still a little bit limited. We, most of the time, like to talk to you on the phone and take an SSI claim from you over the telephone. But you can file online for SSI now if you're between 18 and 65, you've never been married, you're a U.S. citizen, you have never applied for SSI before, and you're already online applying for SSDI benefits. Again, when you say yes to that question, do you intend to file for SSI, that's what's going to create your SSI claim. Again, you can always call us if you don't want to do things online. Give us a call. We'll schedule an interview to do things over the phone. The beauty about doing it online is you can start and stop. When you're on the phone with us, it's going to take at least an hour usually to do these on the phone. And, that can get a little taxing for some people. So give it a try online. We think that you'll find that not too difficult anyway. Now, everybody that's 18 or older has to sign their own application and their own medical authorizations, unless there's a legal guardian involved. So you can help people apply. You can help your adult children or your friend or your parent or your spouse, etc. You can help them, but they're going to have to electronically sign their own application. If they can't electronically sign it because they're not with you when you're filing the application on the internet, well, then the application is going to be mailed to them. And if they can't sign it physically, they may need to put an X on there with assistance from someone, and then it can be their signature can be witnessed. We have ways to make sure that the claimant still signs their own application if they're an adult. You can obtain information and help someone through the application process by making sure you have some forms signed by you and the applicant. So if you want us to release information to you, then the applicant's going to have to sign the consent for release of information to allow us to give you information. If you want to be appointed as a representative and help them file their claim, then you both would fill out the 1696 appointment of representative form. And legal guardianship is not required, but if it occurs and it's been done, let us know, because that way we don't have to worry about trying to make sure the applicant signs forms and all of that. We can just talk to the legal guardian. All claims that people apply for are going to be screened for the SSDI benefit and the SSI benefit. So any adult who files a claim, whether we do it over the phone for you or you do it on the internet, you're going to be filing for both SSDI and SSI. So even if you know I am not eligible for SSI, I have $10,000 in the bank, we are still going to screen for it to be sure whether or not you're eligible for that. So you may get letters in the mail saying, you know, we just talked to you on the phone and we've already denied you. And that's because we know right away to deny based on certain things. For example, if you apply online for SSDI benefits and you've never worked a day in your life, you're not going to have any credits. You're not going to be insured for SSDI. So we're going to deny that claim right away. If you apply and you say, yes, I want SSI, but you tell me that you have $10,000 in the bank, again, I'm going to deny that claim right away based on your resources. So no medical decisions are ever made in Columbus if somebody doesn't qualify for one of those benefits. And when I mention Columbus, that is where we send all claims to get a medical decision. So we send the claims up to the Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities. Their Division of Disability Determination Services, or DDS, is who makes all of the medical decisions for Social Security in Ohio. So they're responsible for developing all the medical evidence and making that initial decision. Most of the time, cases are decided within 120 days. So that's 4 months. So again, don't dawdle. Don't think about, should I apply, shouldn't I apply? Go ahead and apply. If you've got a disabling condition, apply. Any evidence that you provide to us, we're going to send it on up to Columbus. Nobody here in the local offices that takes the claim from you makes a medical decision. So any documents you submit, we're just going to send up to the DDS for them to have in the file to help make the medical decision. One thing that DDS does do is they evaluate people's disabilities based on something called the Impairment Listings, otherwise known as the Social Security Blue Book. We've given you the website there. It's not secret. It's right on our website in the publications section. And it basically describes conditions that are considered severe enough to prevent someone from being able to do any work, any gainful activity. Most of the impairments in this book are permanent or expected to result in death. Other listings that are in there, then we have to see evidence in people's medical records that show that the impairment has already or is going to last 12 months or more. And again, this is where we go back to that medical, the definition of disability under Social Security. There are some things known as compassionate allowances, or CAL, C-A-L. This is a quick way of identifying conditions that qualify immediately under the listing of impairments based on very minimal medical information. Our computers kind of have some algorithms in it, so when you file a claim online and you type in there that you have stage 4 lung cancer, for example, the system automatically is going to say, approve this person based on their allegation of their medical condition. And so it becomes one of these compassionate allowances. It gets fast-tracked to a group of people that work very quickly on these claims and make quick disability decisions. And when I say quick, I mean quick. Sometimes I've seen a turnaround within the same day someone applies. Sometimes it could be up to a month, but it's definitely not 120 days. So the examiner in Columbus is going to review all of your medical sources. So when you apply online or over the phone with us, we're going to ask you, who are your doctors? Who treats you? What kind of medical exams have you had lately? What kind of tests have you had? What kind of medications do you take? We're going to ask you about functional limitations that you have. So we go through a whole list of all of these questions out there. We're even going to ask you about your previous work information. We actually gather your previous work information for the previous 15 years to see what kind of work you used to do before becoming disabled. No evidence is needed in order to start a claim process. So don't ever wait because you haven't been disabled for a year yet, or because you don't have any medical records to give us. We are going to gather all of that on your behalf. All you have to do is tell us where to get the information from. So don't wait. Go ahead and file a claim. If you don't have any medical records, then we may send you out for a consultative exam, and that's where a doctor here locally would see you and feed back some information to the Columbus office about your disabling conditions. You always have the right to appeal any decisions we make about whether you're entitled to benefits or not. You have 60 days to file an appeal. There are 4 levels of appeals. So you work your way through those appeal levels if you continue to get denied. The final one is a review by the federal court system. So you actually sue the Social Security Administration as you go up the ladder for appeals. Again, you have 60 days to file an appeal. We want you to file online if you can. Otherwise, give us a call. We'll mail out the paperwork to you, or we can even set you up with a telephone interview where we can do everything over the phone with you, just like the initial claim. Now, what happens once you're approved for SSI or SSDI benefits? What's going to happen first is the local office is usually going to call you or mail a letter to you telling you we need to talk to you, we need to update the information we originally took from you when you filed your application, 3 or 4 months ago, so that we can now start your benefit because now you've been approved. We're always going to try to pay you directly, assuming that you are capable of managing your own funds. Now, if for some reason the claim has been flagged to us from DDS that maybe you need a representative payee because maybe there's a mental or cognitive disability involved, then we have a hierarchy and we are going to look for somebody, usually in your family or a legal guardian, that can help you and become your representative payee, which means we pay them the benefit for you. And then they help oversee it, make sure that your rent is paid, utility bills are paid, all of your food is purchased and clothing and all of that sort of thing. Sometimes an organization is more suitable, but we usually always start with a family member. We normally have to do payee applications in the office, but during COVID, we're doing everything over the phone. If you get approved for SSI, then we have to do what's called a pre-effectuation review, or we call it PERC. And this means we're going to call you and say, hey, congratulations, you've been approved for SSI. But you applied 4 months ago, and before I can start paying you, I have to verify all of your income and your resources and your living arrangements from the point that you applied until now. So where did you live 4 months ago? Who lived in the house? What kind of income did you have when you lived there? What kind of resources did you have in your name then? Were you paying any rent where you lived? Did you contribute? Or was it your own apartment or your own home, etc.? We're going to be asking a lot of nosy questions like that because we have to determine month by month in the past and going forward, are you eligible for SSI benefits? So remember that rental liability and or the contributions that someone makes towards the household food and shelter is important. So if an applicant lives in subsidized living situation where maybe they don't pay any of the household expenses or they don't pay their fair share of the expenses, then the maximum SSI is automatically 2/3 of what the federal benefit rate is. So that means the maximum is $549 a month. If, however, we know that you've been paying your own bills or you have a loan to pay back somebody for letting you live there for free or some other situation, then maybe we can pay you more. And we can always redetermine that amount if in this, maybe for the last couple of months while you were applying, you lived for free with a friend, but going forward, you're moving into your own place. So then maybe we can reevaluate and pay you more once that happens. So we're constantly looking at how much to pay somebody on SSI, but that pre-effectuation review has to be done as number one. To figure how much we pay you, we first start with that federal benefit rate, $794 a month, and then from that we subtract countable income. So that means we don't count all of the income you have though. We only count income that's left over after we make certain deductions from it. So There's several deductions. One is a $20 general exclusion. Another is a $65 earned income disregard. And then finally, we subtract half of whatever income is left. So to make that make sense, we've got to go through an example. Let's say you're working and you've been approved for SSI. So your gross wages are $1,000 a month. Well, we automatically take off the $20 disregard and the $65 in earned income disregard. Then whatever's left, we're going to subtract half. And what that means is what's left is $457.70. From that, we need to subtract that from the federal benefit rate of $794. That means you would get an SSI check of $336.50 per month. You were technically eligible for the full $794, but you're not payable that full amount because you're working. But we're not counting the entire $1,000 that you earned that month against you. Otherwise, you wouldn't get anything from SSI. So instead, we write off a whole lot of that with those disregards, and then we still pay you about half in SSI. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit of how we make that SSI payment. We do redeterminations normally every 6 to 12 months for SSI. So if you get SSI, you're going to get a letter from us every 6 to 12 months telling you it's time for us to review your income, resources, and living arrangements again. So we're going to go through all of that we did when we started the claim. Where have you been living for the last 6 months? Have you been paying rent? Have you had any jobs in the last 6 months or the last year, whatever, how long it's been since we've talked to you? You know, all of that has to be updated during the review. If you got married during that period of time, your spouse's income now factors into whether or not you're eligible for SSI. And if they have resources available, those factor in. So when you're married, your spouse's income and resources matter as well. So when you do get SSI, there are a lot of things you have to continually report to SSI. And those are things like if you move, if somebody moves in or out of the house, if you start paying rent or you stop paying rent, all of that. If you get a job, if you quit your job, if you start working more than you were working, if somebody gives you, you went and you won the lottery or you played bingo and won, all of those things, because of the nature of the SSI program being needs-based, you'll have to report all of that. The one good thing is if you work, you can report your wages online through your My Social Security account. So this is really great. Or you can call them in. You can mail your wages in. There are a lot of ways to do things like that. And once you get approved for SSI, your claims representative explains all of this. I'm just giving you a broad overview for your general knowledge. If you get approved for SSDI, well, then the benefit amount that you get is based on your work before your disability happened, right? Remember I told you that SSDI is totally different than what I just talked about with SSI, and it's going to be based on your work history. So how much you get is different than how much I get, etc. Now, one thing with SSDI is there's a provision in the law that says once you're found to be disabled, Social Security establishes an onset date for you of your disability, meaning they find you disabled as of a certain date. Then you have to have a 5-month waiting period from then before benefits can start. So if Social Security, if I applied last month in March and now we're in the month of May and they find me disabled with the month of March when I applied, then I have to wait 5 months from March. So April, May, June, July, and August. I couldn't start getting a benefit until September. Now, you might be eligible for SSI during that period of time though. This is also why we take both claims at the same time. Because if you're eligible for SSI because you have limited income and resources, then we can go ahead and pay that to you while you're waiting during that 5-month period. Dependent benefits will start up. So again, once SSDI is approved, that's when we're going to look at paying your spouse or your children their benefit, and the Medicare clock starts to tick. So 24 months after your benefits start, Medicare can start. A new law passed just last year that any awards for individuals with ALS are no longer subject to that 5-month waiting period, as long as their claim was filed after 12/23/20, because that's when the law changed. So that's huge for people with ALS. Can you get both SSI and SSDI? Yes, you can. So let's say your SSDI benefit is less than $814 a month, and you have limited income and resources, then you may be eligible for SSI also. So in 2021, the most you can get when you get both SSI and SSDI is $814. So SSI will supplement up to that $814. So you're going to get your $794 from SSI plus an extra $20, which is a disregard that will take off of your SSDI income. So if you do get both, your SSI would pay you on the 1st, and your SSDI would pay you on the 3rd of the month. If you remember way back when, I told you that that's when they pay. So again, I think to make it make sense, you've got to have an example. So you have Ryan. He gets $600 a month in SSDI. So he's young, he worked a little bit, and he's insured, and he was awarded his SSDI, but he only gets $600 a month. Well, that's less than the SSI amount of $794. Well, he also has limited income and resources, so we want to pay him SSI also. In SSI, he gets $214 a month. So the way we come up with the $814 is we look at his $600 SSDI and take off that $20 general exclusion right away. Now, there's no earned income exclusion here because he's not working, but we do take the $20 off, and that brings his income down to $580. But then we add to it the $214 from SSI, he's going to get that maximum $814 a month. And we always want to pay people by direct deposit. So we either will mail your payment or send your payments to your financial institution, or we will issue you what we call a direct express debit card, which is what we will load your payment on month by month. We do regular medical reviews based on the likelihood of your impairment improving. So if you have possible improvement, we might do a medical review in 3 years or maybe 5 years. If you have a condition that's not likely to improve, they may not do a medical review for 10 years, but everybody gets a medical review. Those are completed by DDS up in Columbus. Children who get SSI benefits and then turn 18, they are reviewed medically to determine, can they get benefits as an adult now that they've turned 18? Because if you remember, I told you early on, children have a different disability definition. So once they reach the age of 18, we have to do a medical review to see if we can continue their benefit. If somebody goes to work, that can also trigger us to do a medical review to see if they're still meeting the definition of disability now that they're working. Stay in the loop with Social Security. If you have not signed up for our blog that's called Social Security Matters, we'd love you to. You'll get lots of great information, and they email the blog to you, and it's just really good information for you to read and stay up to date and learn, about products and services from Social Security. We're all over social media. You can watch our YouTube videos or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget the pandemic updates that I told you about at the beginning of this presentation on our website, ssa.gov/coronavirus, or just go to ssa.gov and click on the orange tab at the top. You'll see it there. And if you are somebody that is going to assist somebody else in filing a claim, go onto our third-party website. It is very thorough, gives you all the information you need about how to help somebody, where, what the forms are that you need and how to apply and all of this information. It's basically a people helping other people type of website, and it brings it all in together, and it's really helpful. So ssa.gov/third party is where you'll find that. Phew, it's a lot of information to give you, and it's a lot of information for you to take in 1 hour. So I don't expect that you are all experts in Social Security disability versus SSI, but hopefully this gave you a nice broad overview of what to kind of expect going forward if you're getting ready to apply. With that, that's all I have as far as the presentation goes. I know we have about 5 minutes left. If we want to go ahead and take any questions, there's nothing written in chat that I can see, but perhaps our moderators have some question and answers, or if you want to open up the phone lines and take calls, whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kelly. That was very informative. I really appreciate that. So I just want to reiterate to anybody who has any specific questions, you can type those in using that question bar on the control panel. And if you submit those now, then we will ask Kelly while we have her live.
And if not, and you have follow-ups, you can always reach me. Roberta has my information.
Great.
And I'm happy to respond to, especially if you have more personal questions. Don't type your Social Security number in and that sort of thing. We can always do those offline. I also want to mention also before we end this call that if this is all being recorded, that's great, but laws change. And as Congress passes laws like they changed the law with people with Lou Gehrig's disease recently, I can only tell you that this information is true and accurate as of now. So as of April of 2021, this information is accurate. But if you record this and watch it a year from now, things could be different.
Very good point. Very good point. And I'd like to thank everyone again for joining us tonight. Thank you again, Kelly. That was very informative, and have a great rest of the week.